Matt and Buffy Payne are a couple driven by purpose. Through their nonprofit, Outer Circle Foundation, and faith-based organizations like Few and Dudes, their mission is clear: to spark positive change, empower others, and build a better world, one connection at a time. She is Chick. He is Dude. Welcome to the Chicken Dude Stuff podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to Chicken Dude. As you see, Buff is not here right now, but she will be coming in very quickly. Just had another thing this morning, so we will be going. We are very, very fortunate this morning to have Logan with us. Welcome, buddy. It's great to have you. So for everybody watching, kind of give a bit of background about yourself, what you're doing, and then we're going to dive into some really cool stuff that you got going on.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me, Matt. I truly appreciate it. It's going to be a ton of fun. So I myself am a podcaster as well. As you know, I had Buffy on my program. Your Morning Drive is the name of the show a couple weeks back. And I kind of do what you guys do. I have fun. I get to have conversations with really cool people and, you know, kind of get to know who they are, what they do, and the why behind it all. In addition to that, I also have a marketing organization. I say organization, that's a generous term. It's me, myself, and I. And I provide, you know, marketing services for people who own a small business, or, you know, maybe they just, you know, they don't have the time to do it themselves. Because, you know, you guys are running around constantly. Worrying about marketing is not something that you guys have top of mind, nor do you want to. So I kind of put myself in kind of that bubble of folks like, listen, like, I'll do it for you so you can focus on running your business. Like, that's what I'm all about, just to kind of take the hands off of a business owner if I can.
Cool. So are you originally from Georgia? Have you been here your whole life?
Matt, I've got a great origin story in that my no, I'm not from Georgia originally. I was born in a small town in the great state of Illinois. And I always say great state of Illinois because it's not a great state. It's actually a pretty pretty sucky place to live. Just for the weather alone. I mean, it gets cold as you can be up there. But all joking aside, from Illinois, parents both grew up in small towns. I was born in Illinois, right outside Champaign, Illinois, which is where the University of Illinois is. And my dad's in commercial construction, so we bounced around the country a lot growing up. The company he works for is responsible for building Atlanta landmarks like Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the State Farm Arena, the original Georgia Dome, and they do higher education, they do healthcare, they do data centers is what they're known for. They do a lot of stuff for the big tech companies that you and I both know and use every day. And so we, you know, packed it up and moved it every couple years. You know, he'd be supervising these project sites, and when the job is done, they'd send a moving truck to our place and pack us up and move us again. So I've lived all over the US, man. North and South Carolina, Virginia, Oklahoma, Georgia a couple times, Virginia a couple times, bounced all over the place, man. Arizona. But yeah, then they ended up moving us here to Georgia for that big I think it was a State Farm complex down in like Dunwoody area by Perimeter Mall. That was a project that my dad was in charge of. And then it got to the point where when we moved here, I had just graduated high school. So I told myself, listen, I'm going to go to college. And if my parents move again, I'm not going with them. I'm going to stay in Georgia. And funny enough, they stopped moving. So here we are. We're in Georgia.
So when you look back, do you have your favorite place that you lived, and what made it your favorite?
That's tough, man. Cause you know, every place we went, I was like, oh, this is the favorite place. But, cause you know, you just get older and you're privileged, you know, you start to drive, you're in high school, you have you know, you unlock more things as you get older. Yeah. But if I really had to pinpoint like a location, Virginia was real nice. the people were real cool in Virginia, although Arizona is a lovely place. I don't know if you've ever been, but
Yep.
Arizona is a lovely state, and loved living there, honestly. Because it was, it was at least 70 degrees all the time.
Yeah.
And the summers were brutal, but that's why everybody in Arizona has a pool in their backyard, because every house basically just comes with a pool, because you live in just such obscene heat. Man, I really did like Arizona. I've gone on the record to say that if I didn't live in Georgia, I'd probably live in Arizona.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you end up graduating from college? Where did you go, and what did you graduate with, and what was your college experience like?
College experience was not the traditional move out of mom and dad's house, go get a dorm with 3 or 4 buddies and shack up. Because, I moved around so much that when I got here, I didn't know anybody. So my plan initially actually was to go to a community college for a couple years and then transfer on to Kennesaw State. And that's what I did. Went to Chattahoochee Technical College for a couple years, got some core classes out of the way, and then transferred on over to KSU, where I ended up graduating with a degree in programming, of all things.
Wow.
Worked an internship while I was going to school and working full time, and realized that I didn't want to sit behind a desk and program and code all day, because, kudos to those who can do it.
Yep.
But I'm too much of a people person to be able to do that. And so, yeah, I got a programming degree, don't really use it, but I was 3/4 of the way through school, and I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I really don't want to do this, but I don't want to go and change my major and be in school for another 2 or 3 years. And he said, buddy, just get the degree. It doesn't matter. In 10 years, no one's going to care what degree you got. They just care that you got one. And I said, okay. And sure enough, 10 years later, has it been 10 years? Almost 10 years later, no, you don't even need college anymore unless you're going to be a doctor. I will say this: if you're listening to this podcast today and you are a doctor, I pray that you went through school, because if you're operating on my brain, I would prefer that you went to class.
Yep.
So
it's so funny, because we have told our kids the same thing, right? There's nothing wrong going to a community college, 2 years, getting all those core classes out of the way, and then moving on to wherever you want to graduate from. And the other thing that I've told them is, both Buff and I have undergrad degrees and graduate degrees. Nobody cares what those are in, unless, right, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an architect, you're going to be an engineer, right? Then they're a little bit more significant what you're doing. But for the normal Joe, that's going to go out and get a job, who cares?
I'd be really curious to see the statistics here in 20 years, when my kids are going through school and they're learning about the education system, how it's evolved over time. It's like, I want to see how many people over time decide that college isn't necessarily the move for them. Because, nowadays people can go to a trade school, for a couple years and graduate and make great money doing great things that we need as a society. So, I'd be real curious to see where we're at in 10, 15 years on the whole college thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely for, any trade, when you electrician, plumber, HVAC, my brother has an HVAC company and does fantastic, a couple of trucks out, got guys moving all over everywhere, doing things. And definitely the trades are a great option, especially for those kids who don't want to go through the traditional education. So you graduate with your degree in programming, and then did you go right into marketing right from there?
Oh, Matt, no, sir, I did not. Man, people listen to this and they'll be like, this guy's the typical Gen Zer that just bounced from job to job. Well, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was in school. The fact that we put this pressure on young people to decide what they want to do for the rest of their life is just insane to me. And I say young people as if I'm not young, but I feel like I've served some time to be able to bestow some advice on younger folks. But I got out of school, and I had said that I worked at an internship I actually worked at the same general contractor that my dad worked at. I got a internship in their IT department, worked the whole IT thing for a couple years, really wasn't happy. I mean, I was going out to job sites and helping out project teams, and that was cool because I got to travel a little bit, but it's just not the life for me. Like going out and getting on these job sites and being, calf deep in like mud on the project site. It just wasn't me. So I dipped from that and went on to work in banking. I worked at a very well-known local credit union that's got a great reputation here in Georgia area, in the metro Atlanta area, and worked there for a couple of years in the whole banking world. I worked at a branch, helped people with their finances, with loans, with whatever happened, financial advice, whatever. Not licensed, but you can give light advice, of course. And personal experiences and things like that. Really enjoyed working for them. They're a great company. They do lots of amazing things in the community. I'm sure you guys have worked with or been around them before without even saying their name, because I don't know. Well, they won't hate me. We ended on good terms. LGE Community Credit Union. Worked for them. They're great. They do great things for the community. And enjoyed working for them, but again, just not the passion. So Matt, during this entire journey of bouncing from job to job to job, and I did work at a marketing company for about 7-8 months in between the general contractor and LGE, but it wasn't anything crazy. I was a contract worker. I just did it to make ends meet. But my time there, I learned a lot about marketing and creativity and servicing small business and all kinds of things. And when I was working there, I was like, you know what, I could do this. I could do this on my own. And so when I inevitably left and joined LGE, I really kind of started ramping things up and trying to push, me as a assistance to small businesses. And yeah, I just kind of figured it out along the way. I'm sure you guys can relate. You kind of start something and you just kind of figure it out along the way. And it's, you just do the best you can. But it takes a long time. And then more recently, about a month ago, actually, at this point, I worked another full-time job after I left LGE. I worked for a small tech startup company that is out in Conyers. And I worked for them for about a year and turned in my notice a couple weeks ago, and I'm full-time Hammerhead Creations, which is the marketing company, which is super exciting, but also absolutely terrifying. I definitely had a very small panic attack last night because I was like, oh my God, the pressure is real. Like this whole month I've been living in this fairy tale, like, oh my God, life is perfect. I can go and network. I can meet people and during the day, I have all this freedom. And last night I was like, oh my God, I am scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, all good things, man. I wouldn't trade any of that. The job hopping, I wouldn't trade any of that for the world, because I don't know if I'd be where I'm at now if it weren't for all of that. Yeah.
And where'd you meet your wife and when and how kids, and to walk through that for us?
Sure. Met my wife on farmersonly.com. No, I'm just kidding. I love to throw that in there. We actually did meet online. We met during COVID on a dating app. Because, no one was going out to bars or anything. So meeting people and finding that companionship was tough during COVID. So we met, went on a couple dates, some social distancing dates. When's the last time you heard that word, social distancing?
Yeah.
I heard it for the first time in like 4 years the other day, and I was like, whoa, I forgot that was part of all of our vocabulary a couple years ago. Met during COVID, dated. I say on and off because, Matt, I was not the nicest guy when we first met. I was kind of not looking for a relationship. So when one kind of fell into my lap, it was kind of like, oh, I don't need that. Like, I'll see this girl, but I'll continue seeing other people. And one day she hit me with an ultimatum. She was like, I'm out, dude. Like, I know we're just seeing each other casually, but if you want to see other girls, then I'll I'll go elsewhere. And
Yep.
I was like, sure, fine, go. I don't care. And that night, similarly, had like a oh my God, what have I done? And so I called her the next day and said, hey, I want to date you and only you. And been together ever since. Got married in 2022, so dated for about 2 years or so. And then I was like, you know what? This one's the one. You know, when you know, and you don't need to be on anyone else's timeline. And I thought, like, man, I just know. And she puts up with me, so that's good enough. No, she's amazing. She's a second grade teacher in Cobb County. And yeah, so been together ever since. Live out in Cartersville now. Love our little town. And yeah, no kids, working on it. Turns out it's a little harder than I thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah.
But that's okay. It's part of the journey. But yeah, that's the current family state. No pets, nothing exciting. Although we are on a huge kick right now. We kind of want to get a dog, but we'll see. Maybe that's because the children department is kind of taking a little longer. So maybe it's trying to fill that need. But I wouldn't want to, I don't want to just get a dog because I'm lonely or I wish I had kids or something. I would want to do it for the right reasons. Because I don't want to give a dog a crappy home or anything like that. Not that we'd be bad owners, but I want to do right by the dog. So yeah, that's where we're at, man.
So I hear there's some really cool stuff you and Whitney have kind of come up with, I guess. I don't. So fill us in. Tell us if you can, whatever it is that you can share.
Yeah, I can share. This might be the first time I'm talking about it publicly, but at least on the air and not on like a social media post. But so, Whitney and I jive so well, Matt. I mean, we just work real well together, and I'd seen her out and about in the communities. I'd seen her at a couple of our mutual friend, Big Rich, Brock. Come on, somebody.
Oh yeah.
I met her at a couple of his shows, and we just kind of started texting back and forth, and really we think the same, and we just do business very similarly. I laugh because, we were at that networking event last week, and Whitney stood up, told everybody in the room all about her services. And then I stood up and said, hey, I do the exact same thing that she does. So if you don't like her, come to me. No, and I kid, because Whitney's an amazing, amazing woman. But yeah, we did each other's podcasts and just hit it off. So we said, you know what? We both love this podcasting thing. Let's do something a little different, especially for like this metro Atlanta area, because you don't see a whole lot of this. So we announced that in 2026, we're going to do at least one, but praying that it goes well, we'll do multiple of these live, I guess you could call it a podcast, live podcasts in front of a paid audience, where we invite notable people from the community to come up and kind of tell their story in a shorter format, maybe do an hour 15 show, invite 2 or 3 guests up and just have a good time. And just kind of, I don't know. Someone the other day asked me, like, what's the point? And I said, well, it's really kind of to just make everyday people in the community aware of people that are doing good around us. And so we kind of said, let's do this. So we're calling it No Script Needed, because there isn't going to be no script. It's going to be her and I shooting from the hip, just kind of seeing what works. Same thing with the guest. We might have 1 or 2 questions prepared for the guest that joins us on stage, but we just kind of want to, again, show people the cool people that are around us every single day. Matt, we go through the motions, we go to work, we go to sleep, we take care of the kids, we do all these things, but you never take the time to kind of realize how many awesome people are out there in our community doing great work for organizations like yours, like Outer Circle Foundation, Never Alone Foundation. I mean, the list goes on and on of people doing great things. And we both unite over the idea that stuff should be shared with as many people as possible, so people can donate, they can get involved, they can volunteer. So yeah, we're really excited for it, man. It's definitely going to be something that we have to warm up to, because I don't do that often. I don't ever speak in front of a live audience, so that kind of pressure is going to be a new one to tackle. But hey, again, part of the journey, right?
And you know what's so cool is Buff and I were talking last night, and I said, "Hey, so I have Logan tomorrow. You know, is is there anything that you want me to touch on or anything while you're, you know, doing your thing?" And I'm like you. I come into this not knowing nothing about nothing. It's just conversation, right? And I'll learn about you while we're here and everything. The other cool part of that is, you know, the world. And I will paint a broad brush here and probably get some flack about it, but too bad. There's a lot of negative in the world, and there's a lot of focus on the negative in the world. And I've cut that out of my life. I don't, you know, the news, I don't even look at anymore. I talk to people. We surround ourselves with those in our own tribe and kind of those that have the same morals, value, vision, you know, that we have. But that's the beauty, is how do we shine light on those doing really good things, the good people, the just what's going on good in the world, as opposed to just all this negative and doom and gloom and everything else. So that's awesome, man. Love that.
Yeah, I agree with your sentiment. You know, I try not to harp on it too much, but the world really is so negative, and it's and it's really exhausting, honestly. They don't warn you as a kid on how negative the world is when you're an adult. And maybe things have been real bad over the past, I don't know, 6-7 years, because, you know, I just hate that politics has turned into something that's table talk. Like, we used to not bring this up. We used to not be vocal about our opinions. And you know, we all have the right to or that opinion, but I just feel like people make it up their whole personality, like who they vote for, like that's all they believe in, and they don't have any wiggle room on anything. And it's like, that's what drives people apart. And so I don't care who you are. I was raised to treat everybody with respect, and to, you know, give everybody grace. And I just, you know, I have my own opinions, but I don't hate anybody because of one way or the other. And I feel like that's the same reason I don't look at the news either. It's because they just want to, I hate to say manipulate us, but they want to manipulate us for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I've got my ideas. I've got questions, you know?
Yeah, I think we all do, right? You know, at the end of the day. So, you know, when you think about kind of where you're going, you know, both the marketing side and the podcast side, and you look at kind of your vision, mission, is it like, how do you summarize that? You know, I think I could kind of do it, I think, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. So what does it look like for you, you know, when you look at it 3 years from now? What do you want to look back and say, man, that was freaking awesome?
That's a really good question, Matt. I don't know if I've ever been asked that before. I honestly, my gut off the cuff answer is I just want to look back and say something along the lines of, I can't believe I'm here now and that's where I was.
Right.
Or something like that. I don't know. I feel like I want to, of course, I want the business to succeed, and I want to make some good moolah to be able to give a great life for me and Catherine and our potential future babies. I want that so bad, but I also want to be known as a person that people are comfortable around, people are safe around, people feel like they can tell me things, and it's truly a lock and key. It's truly, you know, between me and them. I really have always been a social butterfly, and I always try to be friends with everybody, and I want that to continue. I just want to be known as a guy that be like, oh, Logan, oh, there's nothing bad you can say about that guy. Like, I want to be that guy. I want to be like how people talk about you guys. Like anytime Matt and Buffy are brought up, people are like, oh God, Matt and Buffy, what can't be said about them that hasn't already been said? That's the reputation I strive for. And of course, success, and I want the podcast to do well. And I'd love to start, with my guest list on the podcast, a lot of it is local. Like that's the emphasis at this moment is local, local, local. I want to broaden that horizon a little bit. I want to welcome people from other states and cities and kind of trying to tap into that a little bit, going into 2026. But I'd like to start inviting some people with a little more notoriety, I guess. I'd like to invite some smaller time, maybe smaller comedians, smaller podcasters, smaller celebrities. I'm not shooting for Tom Hanks right now. Tom Hanks isn't going to do Your Morning Drive. But maybe
you never know. You never know.
Hey, Toy Story 12 is coming out next year, so if you want to do some promo for a dude who loves the original Toy Story, Tom, if you're listening to this, I'd love to be your guy. But yeah, sorry, that was kind of jumbled, but I don't really. I just want to be known for doing good.
Yeah,
I guess that's it.
Yeah, and that's a really tough question, right? I mean, you're kind of starting out. You referenced, the epiphany last night. Holy crap! Like the world's sitting on my shoulders right now. I'm responsible for not only me but my wife and house and everything else. And there's not that security of that guaranteed paycheck. With you can fall back on your own skills. Now it's your creativity, your drive, your motivation, making sure you're doing the things right. And I think that you are surrounding yourselves with great people, Whitney and some of the others that you're dealing with. You got a really good vision. And thank you so much for the kind words about Buff and I super appreciate that. But that's kind of the oomph behind this for us is what does it look like 3 years from now, right? Not where are we today? How do we get to where we want to be? And that, you're going to look back and go, man, remember that valley I was in? Remember how I struggled with that, but look what I learned and look at the next peak that brought me to, and that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I just kind of want to make a stamp in whatever way I can. And a thought that came to me just now was I really want 3 years from now to still be doing this.
Right.
When I quit that full-time job a month ago, my wife and I said, okay, well, let's be realistic here. Let's give it a timeline and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then I tried and I'll just go search for another full-time job again, I guess. But I like to think that I won't ever go back to working for anyone else. This is my forever now. So I just pray that in 3 years, I'm still doing this and I'm still helping small businesses and maybe getting, up there and doing small to medium sized and maybe some larger businesses. But I really just want to keep helping people, man. Why? Again, like I said at the beginning, but if you're a business owner and you are worried about 80 million things a day, why not let me take one of them? And just, if I can be the reason that you went to bed at 9:30 versus 10:30 and get a better night's sleep, I'd love to be that reason. So I just like to help people. And of course I like to be creative and have fun and make money and just like all of us do, but I really just like to help.
Yeah. Do you have an ideal kind of sweet spot for the clients or the businesses that you want to attract?
Not necessarily. I work with a lot of different businesses. I work with a solar panel company, a travel agent, a bakery, a wine company. I mean, I work with a lot of different kinds of businesses. I will say that I do have a lot more fun. Fun is relative. I have a lot more fun working with like food and drink. So like the wine company is a lot of fun. The bakery is a lot of fun because I think food and drink are, I don't want to say easy to market, but everybody eats and everybody drinks. So It's just crafting, your message in a way that encourages people to want to buy your drink or buy your, donut or product or whatever you're selling. But I do have a lot of fun with food. I also have a lot of fun with other podcasters. A lot of podcasters similar to Whitney. I just posted on social last week that, I'm helping Whitney out because she's so busy now. She doesn't have the time to be able to chop up her podcast and make cool clips of it and edit it without setting the time aside. And maybe she's up till midnight doing that, and she doesn't want to do that. So, I'm trying to swoop in and kind of ask podcasters like, hey, if you're a podcaster and you're a high level person and you're an executive and you started the show to network and you just don't want to have time for that back end stuff, let me help you with that back end stuff. I've done it for 8 years. I know a thing or two about it. So yeah.
Well, the other half just arrived. Get on in here.
The other half?
Yep. Buff just walked in the door.
Buff walked in the door.
I will turn it over to you for any questions you have.
Well, when I was on his podcast, he asked me what my exit song was, and I still haven't solved that yet. But I want to know what your exit song is.
Wow, that's a great question. I ask all those questions to so many people, and I don't even know if I have an answer myself. Goodness, let me look at the old music library here. I feel like this is a lame answer, but I feel like anytime I hear the song Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson, I get real excited for whatever reason. And just get amped up. And yeah, it's not a song that's necessarily like rock and roll that's going to get you fired up to do something. But anytime I hear that song, I'm instantly in a good mood. It doesn't matter what's going on. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, this is what good times are like.
Very good. What's your exit song?
Oh, I don't have a clue. You asked me that a while ago. I don't know. There's so many songs.
I know. Mine is always mood driven.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess one that just jumped to me was Sweet Child of Mine.
Mm-hmm.
That one's a banger. Anytime you hear that, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to rock. So yeah, I think Sweet Child of Mine or Chattahoochee, two very different songs, but
yeah.
It's quite the swing.
Yeah, very much so.
So how busy are you right now? Getting ready for the holidays?
The holidays always, I feel like, creep up on us, and they just kind of come and go. And I'm trying to really hard this year to like soak it in, like to really enjoy the holidays. Like we even went the extra mile and threw a little tree up here in the office just because like I feel like I'm always up here and never downstairs where the actual tree is. And it's like, God, I hate having to like download all this Christmas music, and then it feels like just a week later I'm like, all right, I'm archiving it now because I'm not going to need to listen to this for another 11 months. And so I don't know. I'm really trying to really hang it in there, but I'm really excited, if I'm being completely honest, with the whole like me quitting the full-time job, and because we're no, that's not a fair statement. I was gonna say we're vacationers. Like if we have time off, we're gonna use it. You always know people in the corporate world that they have 3 weeks of time off and they never take it. That's not me. I'm taking the time off, not just to sit at home. I don't really do staycations a lot, but like we went on a few trips last year, but they were all like centered around other people, like a bachelorette trip. I went on a bachelor trip. I went to visit my brother. Like it's stuff like that. And I'm really excited for the holidays because in previous years, of course, you only get like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off of work. And same thing with Thanksgiving and Black Friday. But I'm excited to be able to soak up as much family time as I can. I mean, I'm excited to not have to be like, well, I wish I could come to that lunch tomorrow, but I'm going to be at work. So I'm going to have to miss it. Or I'd love to be able to come over to my parents' house and, cook breakfast with them in the mornings, like on Thanksgiving. But I've always been like, well, I gotta tune into work or whatever the excuse was, but I'm excited to have that freedom and flexibility to be more present.
Good.
How close are you to mom and dad? Distance wise?
Distance wise, probably about 15 miles. They're in Kennesaw, right near Marietta Country Club. So not far. Just being in Cartersville, I just take a turn, get on 41 and ride 41 all the way down. So real easy drive, far enough away that I still text and say, hey, you guys do anything? I'm going to come over, but still close enough that I could just drop in unannounced. Yeah. And I do like to do that to keep them on their toes sometimes. But yeah, I love that I'm so close proximity wise with my parents, because I don't know if you guys relate to this or not, but I am at the phase, and I have been in the last couple years, I'm at the phase where my parents are more friends than they are parents.
Yeah.
Like we invite my parents to like our Halloween parties and like things that we only invite like our friends that are, like us in our early 30s, but we invite my parents because my friends want to be around my dad. They think my dad is cool. The girls think my mom is funny. Like my friends are like, are your parents coming to this? I'm like, oh no, I didn't invite them for once. But I'm real close with my parents too. Like I have a very special relationship because I know not a lot of people have their parents around or just aren't close with their family like I am. I'm real lucky. I went to a comedy show last night actually with my dad. We love watching stand-up comedians, so we went to see Nate Bargatze, I think that's his last name.
Oh yeah, he's a good one.
He's a clean comic at State Farm Arena, but I love hanging out with the parents. I know some people are like, oh, that's lame, you're hanging out with mom and dad. I'm like, nah, dude, my parents are fun. I love hanging with my parents.
Is your dad a golfer? Is that what prompted the country club?
He is a golfer. I think coincidentally they just found a home over near there. I don't know if the country club was a selling point, but he is a golfer. He's a member of I think Pine Tree is the country club that he's a member of. But yeah, he is a golfer, and I try to be able to nurture that relationship, but I am not a great golfer. If I'm being completely honest, I show up to drink and enjoy the camaraderie, or just drop Happy Gilmore one-liners, because that's what I'm known for. Is like if Logan's not dropping Happy Gilmore one-liners, and he's really having a bad day on the course.
So we should have Logan at our next golf event, and he can be the Happy Gilmore hole.
Oh yeah.
That would be lovely. In fact, I'd love to come to the next golf tournament. I love golf tournaments. LGE taught me that. It's like golf tournament. I love them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
Yeah. All right.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You got any closing? I know he asked a couple of questions. You have anything you want to know?
All-time favorite movie?
Ooh, Jurassic Park.
Really?
I love Jurassic Park.
The original or the new one?
The original.
Yeah.
Original from there's not many movies that just stand the test of time. Well, I mean, that's not true. There's a ton, but I mean, to me, like every time I watch Jurassic Park, I'm like, I can't believe this came out in the early 90s. Like 94, this came out, and it has better CGI than a lot of movies do today. How is that possible? And then the mixture of animatronics versus computer animation. I just am fascinated by the fact that they were able to make that movie, and it's an amazing movie, and it's a great book too. It's a terrifying read. It's very different from the movie because there's not a lot of things they could have gotten away with in the movie that they got away with in the book. But Jurassic Park, and then if I'd have to come in after that, I'd say maybe The Lion King. Maybe it's a cop-out answer, but I love The Lion King. Yeah, I'm looking at like these Funko Pops. You guys know what those are? The little figurine things. They're like these little, and I'm looking at, I buy one from all my favorite movies. So I'm looking at Happy Gilmore's up there, Dumb and Dumber's up there. Yeah. Jurassic Park, though. What about you?
Oh goodness. So my favorite Disney is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
And
Right,
that's a
'cause
great
it's-
movie because you can watch that at Halloween and Christmas.
That's right. Well, I could watch it year round.
Mhm.
I have an entire room in our house dedicated to all the Jack and Sally stuff.
That's
I have an
awesome.
Autographed original movie script, the original poster, autographed by all the actors. So it's definitely a favorite of mine.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I love that movie. That's a great one. That's one that my wife hadn't seen somehow until I met her. I was like, "What?"
How could she
It
not
was like
see
the middle
it?
of July, and I was like, "We're watching this right now." Queuing up the Disney Plus, and we're watching this Halloween / Christmas movie right now in the middle of July. But
That's right. It is. It's a good one. What about you, Mr. Payne?
I have two. Pure Country with George Strait, and Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise.
yeah, great movies.
Yeah,
Two very different movies.
yeah,
Very
they're-
different.
They're sort of different, but sort of the same.
Yeah.
In that space. But yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So, what do you live by? Like, if let's go with, when you think about that, it could be a Bible verse, it could be something you learn from a mentor, a book you've read. What drives you every day? What's your inner being? What drives you every day?
That's a great question. The answer has changed since becoming a full-timer. But I'd say honestly, what drives me is to be able to do the things I love for people that I love, and whatever that looks like. If it's, providing and supplying, my share of the household income with Catherine, sharing memories with her, and, helping businesses along the way. I love that. I also kind of live by, this is cheesy because I feel like a lot of us are taught this as a young age, but over all of my moves and over all of my different phases of life, I always just try to treat people how I'd like to be treated. Like, it's so basic, but it rings true, especially with, like you were saying earlier, Matt, about like everything is so negative now. People are ready to jump at each other's throats at the drop of a hat. And it's like, I just want us all to be buddies. Can we not just go and have a party together and all laugh and enjoy ourselves? I mean, one of the comedians last night, one of the openers, said, "This is what life is all about, man. We need to get together and laugh more. We take ourselves so seriously every day, and it's like, man, we just need to laugh more." And so I like to try to live by that.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Anything else?
No. How can we help you, Logan? What can we do to help you?
We can tell people to follow along on the journey. You can go to the social media profiles if you want to follow along. The podcast is at Your Morning Drive on all of the places. If you're a small business owner and you have any of those things that I'd mentioned earlier about, taking a load off your plate or helping you with something so that you can focus on your business. If you're in that state, we're going into 2026. So a lot of people are looking at their budgets. A lot of people are trying to see what they can offload and, give to a contractor or some added help. And I'd love to be that help. So if you're in need of a website refresh, I design websites. If you're in need of podcast editing help, I edit podcasts. If you're in need of social media management, I manage social media. So if you're interested in any of those things, go to hammerheadcreations.com and send me an email. Let's go.
Okay.
Excellent.
Awesome.
There you have it.
Sounds good. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Heck yeah.
Thanks so much, buddy.